So my name's John Aldridge. I'm an associate leader in the Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Systems Group at MIT Lincoln Laboratory. MIT Lincoln Laboratory is a federally funded research and development center. And I first came to MIT, like I said, about 20 years ago, straight out of undergraduate. So I went to the University of Arizona, which is where I'm from. And when my wife and I got married at the end of our undergraduate, she wanted to go to school or keep going to school. I wanted to go to work, in some interesting area. I wasn't sure exactly what that would mean yet. And we had this two-body problem. So we both expected that we could do those things well in the Bay Area. So we kind of had our sights set on that. I had an offer out there at a traditional place. She'd been accepted to some of the schools out there. And we both thought that option was fine. But then she came to MIT for her graduate school interview in biological engineering. And I remember very clearly because she called me from the hotel room and she said, "John, this is the best school I've ever seen in my entire life. I have to go here." So I said, okay. So we put everything down in the Bay Area and we moved out here 20 years ago, and we've been here ever since. So MIT Lincoln Laboratory is a big place. It's technically MIT's, I think, largest laboratory. It's about 4,000 scientists and engineers running around doing applied research and development on behalf of the US government, kind of writ large. Our group, I think, is really interesting and very compelling to be a part of because we are the nexus on behalf of the broader laboratory for applied research and engineering in humanitarian assistance and disaster relief applications. So oftentimes, when you look at groups at the laboratory, they tend to be either technology focused, where they're responsible on behalf of the United States and on behalf of MIT at being the forefront in a particular technology area. Could be LiDAR, could be radar systems, could be something else, biotechnology, for example. Or groups tend to be mission focused, where rather than being wedded to a particular technology, our mandate, again, on behalf of the community, is to be at the forefront of how technology can be implemented and applied and adapted into an underserved mission area. And in that context, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief clearly is. We as a nation and as a global community often invest resources in technology development for other missions, any number of things, but we tend to neglect humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, and the adoption of technology in those areas is very difficult. So our group's responsibility is to help close that gap as best we can. And we're a team of about 30 folks, again, amongst that 4,000 strong laboratory community. So the mission is a very compelling one, and it can be a very emotional one for the staff who work in the group with me. I think it's human nature to want to help your fellow man in some tangible way, and to see what you're working on in your daily life make a difference in someone else's life. So we're not a response organization. So our role in that ecosystem is not to necessarily be on the ground, repairing buildings, or handing out water bottles, or providing direct aid. Our responsibility is to support those professionals and those volunteers and those stakeholders who do that as a matter of their own avocation, or as a function of their job, and to build them tools and to get them tools that can make them more effective. Whether it's a sensor system they didn't have before, whether it's a software like a decision support system that they can use to distill information distill data into information that's more practical and applicable for them. So we're in that support structure, one half step back or one step back behind them, to hopefully get them tools that they can use so that they are more effective and maybe less tired, dirty, and hungry than they were yesterday.